Question 75 to 81 I'm going to group together, not because I'm crazy. Hey, I'm not crazy, I'm not loco, man. Who you calling loco? Okay, because they're all pretty much done in the same place. Okay, we're still in that same table, and let's just do one at a time. We add it's meant to be new, I would guess. Add a new text field, called tax code as the second field in the table, and change the field width to 4. So we have a text field called tax code, and it needs to go into that table. Okay, let's just go back into our table again. It needs to go in here, so I can insert a row there, and it's called tax code, and it's text, and it has a field size is the maximum number of characters I can store in it, and they're saying restricted to 4. Okay, set the most appropriate field to be the primary key. Okay, and you can give you a hint underneath here and say it must be unique for each record. In fact, the 2 requirements for a primary key must be unique, must be different for every record, and it may not be left blank. So, in other words, an ID number is a good thing because everybody's ID number is different, hopefully. The downside is if you don't have an ID number, then we've got a bit of a problem. But let's see if there's anything that's suitable in this table. At the moment, there we go. Well, auto number kind of sticks out because auto number is going to have to be different because it starts at 1 and it goes up 2, 3, 4. So that's always, and it's automatically going to be added. So that's perfect. Okay. Text code might be, but we definitely know this one's going to be. And it's going to be filled in for every record even more importantly. So that's the primary key. I just right click. If you want to remove it as primary key, I just right click again and you click on it again, and then that's primary key. Okay, what else can we do here? Change the format of the date started field. So the date started field to be a long date. So date started. Okay, down here you go and change everything that you need to change. So here's your format down here. So I've clicked on that field over there, date started, and down here is your format. And what kind of format was it? Long date. Okay, long date, and there we go. So you can sort of customize a little bit down here once you've selected the field. This is like your pimp my field kind of dialogue thing at the bottom there. Set the default value for the stipend field. Okay, default means that if you don't put in a value, I'm going to make it that. Okay, so the default value for the stipend field is 0. In other words, a nullity. So down here, default value is 0. Well, it's actually kind of set to 0 already, so it was a bit of a doffy here. Oh well, just take the marks as they come. Make it compulsory. In other words, they must, for a user to enter value for the surname field. Okay, so the surname field, I'm going to click on the surname field and I change the required property. The required property must be changed to yes. In other words, you can leave the others blank, but that one you have to fill in. Okay, primary keys you also have to fill in as a matter of interest. But this one, they're not asking to make it a primary key because obviously you can have surnames that are the same. They're saying, but you must make it compulsory for the person to enter, which makes it a yes, required. Okay. Set a suitable validation rule and validation text and come back for the stipend field if they can only enter values between 0 and 200. Okay, let's get to the stipend field and then let's look at the validation rule and look at the separate text. Okay, a validation rule is specifying what values the user can enter. So for example, if they were classes, you might say it can be the A or the B or the C or the D, whatever it happens to be. In our case, we're saying it should be between 0 and 200 inclusive. In other words, it means it includes both those values. So greater than or equal to 0, not all, and less than or equal to 200. Okay, in other words, you're saying to the user when you enter a value, it's going to have to be between there. Right, the validation text is the error message that appears if they enter something that's not. So if they enter a 300 or something like that. So don't just say dork, silly, or wrong. It's a bit rude, eh? I mean, you might think it, but don't say it. So we say, and refer to why the errors occurred. We say, let's be very polite. Say, sorry, only values from 0 to greater than equal to 0, less than equal to 200, sorry, only values from 200 are acceptable. And so that if I try and enter a value in that particular field for the stipend, let's try and enter 777,000, sorry, only values from 0 to 200 are acceptable. Okay, so that looks like everything's cool and working there. And it's not always a bad idea to go and test it. Okay, sometimes in an exam you're a little bit rushed for time, but if you've got time afterwards, go and test it and say, okay, looks like it actually works. Right. Enter a suitable input mask. Mark of Zorro. No, this is just an input mask. Tax code field. Okay, so let's get hold of the tax code field first of all, and then we're going to kind of I have to put in. See, there's telling me to enter a value for the surname. Okay. What did we say? The tax code field. Okay, we want an input mask. Okay. Right. Things you have to use in the input mask are greater than, to say something must be greater than. L means it must be a letter and it's compulsory, you can't not put it in. A I think is optional letter, very seldom get that. And 0 is a compulsory digit, there must be a digit, and 9 is an optional digit. Now let's see what they actually want. They're saying, okay, the user must be, let's just scroll down a bit here and see if we can actually get this on the screen for a start. Okay, so the user can must enter a capital letter, single capital letter, followed by at least one, but maybe 2 digits. So like M16 or K9. Very funny. Okay, one capital letter, one digit. That's fine. So it's one capital letter, capital, greater than L, to make everything capitals, can be capitals. Oh, compulsory digit, but there may be a second one. So greater than 0, 9. Okay. If they said 2 compulsory digits followed by a third one, it would be that, whatever. But in this case, it's one compulsory letter, one compulsory number, and an optional. And that is that for that. We're going to move on to queries now, and we're going to do one query all on its own, and that kind of incorporates pretty much everything. And then we're going to do a form that pretty much incorporates form, and then we're going to do a database, and then we're on the home stretch, people. We're on the home stretch.